There is a quiet story that unfolds in many lives, and it often goes unnoticed because nothing dramatic happens. Imagine a man sitting in a room at the end of a long day, no phone in his hand, no words rushing out of him, just a deep breath and a moment of stillness. Earlier that day, he fixed something that was broken, carried a responsibility that wasn't his alone, and stayed calm when things became heavy. Not once did he say how much he cared. Not once did he explain what he was feeling. Yet every action was shaped by attachment, by concern, by a desire to protect what matters to him. People sometimes assume that love must always announce itself, that if it is real, it will be loud, expressive, and easy to recognize. But psychology tells us something more subtle. Many men learn early that love is proven through reliability, not repetition. They discover that showing up consistently feels more honest than speaking beautifully. So their affection moves quietly, hidden inside habits, choices, and presence. It becomes visible only when you slow down enough to notice patterns rather than phrases. Carl Jung once suggested that the most important things in life are often those that live below the surface, shaping behavior without demanding attention. Love, especially in its mature form, works the same way. It settles into the background of daily life and holds everything together without asking to be named. When you begin to look at love this way, you realize that words are only one doorway into the heart. Actions, silence, respect, and emotional safety are others, and they are often the ones most deeply trusted. So before listening for what is said, it may be worth paying attention to what is done, what is protected, and what is consistently offered without being asked. Because sometimes love is not trying to be heard, it is simply trying to be lived. When we say that men often express love through actions rather than words, we are not talking about emotional distance or inability to feel. We are talking about how meaning is formed inside the psyche. Many men are conditioned early to connect worth with usefulness, contribution, and reliability. Because of this, love becomes something they do, not something they repeatedly describe. Fixing a problem, showing up on time, taking responsibility, staying consistent during stress. These are not neutral behaviors to them. These are emotional statements translated into action. In their inner world, doing replaces saying. The feeling exists first, but the expression travels through behavior instead of language, because behavior feels safer, clearer, and more honest to them. From a psychological angle, especially one inspired by Jung, actions come from the unconscious before words do. Words belong to the conscious mind, but actions often rise from deeper layers where instinct and meaning live. Many men feel uncomfortable verbalizing emotions because language can feel exposed and imprecise. Action feels grounded. When a man chooses to stay, to protect time, to invest effort, he is expressing attachment in a way that aligns with his inner structure. He may not even register that something is missing if words are absent, because in his mind, presence itself already communicates commitment and care. Another layer of this is that for many men, words feel temporary, but actions feel permanent. Saying something can feel fragile, like it can be questioned or taken back. Doing something requires energy, time, and sacrifice. This gives it weight. When effort is repeated, it becomes a pattern, and patterns are how the psyche recognizes truth. So when a man continues to show up, even when it is inconvenient, even when no praise is given, that repetition becomes his version of emotional declaration. He may assume that the meaning is obvious because to him, effort is never accidental. There is also the factor of emotional economy. Many men experience emotions intensely but privately. They may not have learned how to narrate those emotions out loud. Instead, they channel feeling into movement, problem solving, and responsibility. This is not avoidance, it is translation. Love moves through a different internal pathway. Instead of saying, "I care," it becomes, "I made sure you were safe. I handled this so you wouldn't have to. I stayed when things were heavy." These actions carry emotional content, even if the words are missing, because the feeling was the fuel behind them. Misunderstanding happens when love is expected to sound the same from everyone. If one person listens for words and the other speaks through behavior, both may feel unseen. The man may feel unappreciated because his efforts are unnoticed, while the other may feel unloved because affection is not verbalized. Psychologically, this is not a lack of love, but a mismatch of expression. When actions are dismissed as ordinary, the emotional message inside them is lost. What looks like silence is often a full sentence spoken in a different language. Understanding this does not mean words are unimportant, but it does mean actions deserve to be read more carefully. A man who consistently chooses responsibility, loyalty, and presence is communicating something stable and intentional. He may not repeat emotional phrases, but his behavior is structured around care. When this is recognized, connection deepens, because his way of loving is finally seen for what it is, not measured against a form that was never natural to him. When a man feels respected, something deep inside him settles. Respect is not about agreement or admiration alone. It is about being recognized as a whole person with agency, boundaries, and inner direction. Psychologically, respect touches identity. It confirms that who he is and how he moves through the world makes sense. Many men build their sense of self around competence, reliability, and personal values. When these are acknowledged rather than questioned or diminished, the inner tension eases. Respect tells him he does not need to perform or prove constantly. It gives him space to stand in his own center without defensiveness or withdrawal. From a Jungian perspective, respect strengthens the ego in a healthy way. The ego needs affirmation to function without becoming rigid or fragile. When respect is present, the ego does not feel under attack, so it does not need to protect itself through distance or control. Instead, it relaxes and allows deeper emotional layers to surface. This is why respect often leads to openness. A man who feels respected is more willing to share thoughts, doubts, and even vulnerabilities. Without respect, emotional expression feels unsafe because the psyche senses that exposure could lead to judgment or loss of standing. Respect is closely tied to purpose. Many men feel most alive when they believe their actions matter. When their efforts are seen as meaningful, not just expected, it reinforces a sense of direction. Purpose is not always about grand ambition. It can be as simple as feeling useful, trusted, and relied upon. When respect is communicated through listening, acknowledgement, and trust in decision-making, it validates that purpose. The unconscious registers this as alignment between inner values and outer reality. That alignment reduces inner conflict and creates emotional stability. A lack of respect often does more damage than a lack of affection. Affection without respect can feel hollow or even uncomfortable. If a man senses that his thoughts are dismissed, his boundaries ignored, or his efforts minimized, the psyche begins to withdraw energy. This withdrawal is not always conscious. It can appear as emotional distance, silence, or reduced engagement. Internally, it is a protective response. The mind learns that showing up fully does not lead to understanding, so it conserves itself. Respect, therefore, is not a luxury. It is a condition for emotional presence. Respect also allows a man to grow. When he is not constantly corrected, compared, or reshaped, he feels free to evolve organically. Growth requires room for trial and error. Respect communicates trust in his process, even when the outcome is uncertain. This trust strengthens self-belief. Instead of feeling managed or controlled, he feels accompanied. That distinction matters deeply. One creates resistance, the other creates loyalty. When a man feels respected during his imperfect moments, it reinforces a stable inner image that does not collapse under pressure. There is also a quiet power in how respect is expressed. Tone, timing, and intention matter more than grand gestures. Respect shows up in allowing silence, in asking rather than assuming, in acknowledging effort without keeping score. These signals are subtle, but the unconscious notices them immediately. Over time, they form an emotional climate. In that climate, a man's sense of self becomes more grounded. He does not feel the need to assert dominance or retreat into passivity. He simply exists with more clarity and calm, rooted in the feeling that who he is has a rightful place. Emotional safety is one of the most misunderstood yet powerful needs in a man's inner world. It does not mean constant reassurance or the absence of disagreement. It means knowing that emotions can exist without being used against him. Many men carry an unconscious expectation that showing feeling will lead to criticism, misinterpretation, or loss of control. When emotional safety is present, that expectation slowly dissolves. The nervous system relaxes. He no longer has to monitor every word or expression. In that space, attachment grows naturally because the psyche senses that connection does not require self-protection. Psychologically, emotional safety allows the unconscious to surface without fear. Jung spoke about the shadow, the parts of the self that remain hidden because they feel unacceptable. When a man feels emotionally safe, he is more willing to let these softer or uncertain parts emerge. This does not happen through pressure or interrogation, but through calm acceptance. Silence that is not questioned, moods that are not challenged, and feelings that are allowed to pass without being labeled create a sense of internal permission. That permission is what makes emotional closeness sustainable rather than overwhelming. For many men, emotional safety is tied to predictability. Not knowing how emotions will be received creates tension. If every feeling leads to analysis, correction, or escalation, the psyche learns to avoid expression altogether. Emotional safety means responses are steady. It means disagreements do not threaten connection. When a man realizes that conflict does not equal rejection, he becomes more open. His emotional system learns that closeness does not require constant defense. Over time, this predictability becomes a foundation. It allows him to stay present instead of withdrawing during emotional moments. There is also an element of dignity involved. Emotional safety preserves self-respect. When emotions are not mocked, minimized, or turned into weakness, a man can remain emotionally engaged without feeling exposed. This is especially important for men who were taught early to suppress emotion in order to survive socially. Emotional safety gives them a new experience. It shows them that feeling does not reduce worth. This realization can be deeply healing. It does not arrive suddenly, but through repeated moments of non-judgment where emotion is allowed to exist as it is. Emotional safety also reduces the need for constant verbal affirmation. When a man feels secure, he does not need to repeatedly prove or hear proof of connection. The bond feels stable in the body, not just in the mind. Attachment becomes quieter, less anxious. Instead of seeking reassurance, he offers presence. Instead of explaining himself, he simply stays. This is why emotional safety often deepens connection more than words ever could. It transforms love from something that must be maintained into something that is simply lived. Another important aspect is that emotional safety respects autonomy. It does not demand immediate access to inner states. Many men process emotions internally before speaking. When that space is honored, trust increases. Being allowed to take time without pressure communicates patience and understanding. The unconscious reads this as care. Over time, the need for distance lessens because the system knows it can return without consequence. Emotional safety, in this sense, does not pull closer. It allows closeness to emerge naturally. When emotional safety becomes consistent, It reshapes attachment patterns. The man's inner world no longer associates intimacy with threat. Instead, it links closeness with calm. This shift changes behavior without force. He may speak more, share more, or simply remain more present. None of this is demanded. It unfolds on its own. Emotional safety does not create dependence. It creates stability. And stability is what allows love to deepen quietly, without needing constant reassurance or dramatic expression. Trust and loyalty reach deep into the unconscious mind of a man, far beyond surface-level commitment. At a psychological level, trust signals safety. It tells the nervous system that attachment does not require constant vigilance. Many men carry an unspoken fear of loss, not always dramatic, but quiet and persistent. This fear may come from past experiences, observation, or inherited beliefs about instability. When trust is present, that background tension softens. He no longer feels the need to guard himself emotionally. Loyalty reassures him that connection is not temporary or conditional, allowing him to invest without bracing for withdrawal. From a Jungian lens, trust stabilizes the inner world. The psyche seeks continuity. When loyalty is consistent, the unconscious stops scanning for threats. This creates mental space. Instead of monitoring the relationship, energy shifts toward growth, creativity, and shared meaning. Trust is not built through grand promises, but through alignment between words and actions over time. Each moment of consistency strengthens an internal belief that attachment is reliable. Once that belief settles in, emotional depth increases naturally, because fear no longer blocks expression. Loyalty also touches a man's sense of honor. Many men value integrity deeply, even if they do not speak about it openly. When loyalty is felt, it mirrors their own inner code. This creates resonance. He feels understood at a value level, not just an emotional one. That resonance strengthens attachment more than emotional intensity alone. Without loyalty, affection can feel unstable. With loyalty, even quiet connection feels solid. The psyche prefers reliability over excitement, because reliability ensures survival at a deep instinctual level. The fear of betrayal lives quietly in the background for many men. It does not always come from direct experience. Sometimes it comes from witnessing instability or learning early that trust can be withdrawn suddenly. Loyalty counters this fear not through reassurance, but through presence that does not waver during difficulty. When challenges arise and loyalty remains intact, the unconscious records this as proof. Each moment like this weakens old protective patterns. Over time, the man becomes less guarded, not because he is forced to trust, but because trust feels earned through experience. Trust also allows vulnerability without humiliation. When a man feels loyal connection, he can admit uncertainty or doubt without fearing that it will be used against him later. This safety transforms how he relates emotionally. Vulnerability becomes a shared human experience rather than a risk. The psyche learns that honesty does not lead to loss of respect. This lesson is powerful. It changes not only how he connects emotionally, but how he relates to himself. He becomes more accepting of his own inner complexity. Another important layer of loyalty is emotional consistency. Loyalty is not only about staying physically present, but emotionally steady. Mood stability, predictable responses, and calm during conflict all reinforce trust. When emotional reactions are extreme or inconsistent, the unconscious becomes alert. When reactions are grounded, the system relaxes. Loyalty expressed this way creates an environment where connection feels dependable. It allows disagreements without fear of abandonment. This steadiness is deeply appreciated because it reduces emotional fatigue. As trust and loyalty deepen, the need for constant reassurance fades. The bond moves from something that needs to be checked into something that is simply known. The man no longer questions where he stands. This certainty frees emotional energy. Instead of worrying about loss, he invests more fully in the present. Love becomes quieter but stronger. Trust does not create attachment through intensity, it creates attachment through calm certainty, and that certainty allows emotional depth to grow without fear or defensiveness. Being understood without explanation touches something very deep in a man's inner world. It signals that his inner state does not need to be justified to be accepted. Many men grow up learning that feelings must be defended, explained, or proven to be valid. Over time, this creates internal tension. When someone understands him intuitively, without demanding constant clarification, that tension eases. It feels like relief. Psychologically, this tells the unconscious that it is safe to exist as it is. He does not have to translate every emotion into language. He can simply be, and that experience itself creates emotional closeness. Silence plays an important role here. Many men process emotions internally and slowly. When silence is respected instead of questioned, it communicates trust. If every quiet moment is interpreted as a problem, the mind stays alert. But when silence is allowed, the nervous system relaxes. Being understood without explanation does not mean mind reading. It means patience. It means not forcing emotional access before it is ready. This patience is felt immediately, even if it is never discussed. The psyche registers it as emotional intelligence and care because it honors the internal rhythm rather than disrupting it. There is also a strong connection between understanding and dignity. When a man feels misunderstood, he often feels reduced. His complexity gets flattened into assumptions. This creates frustration and withdrawal. But when someone senses his intent, even when his words are limited, he feels recognized as a whole person. That recognition affirms identity. It says that his inner world has depth, even when it is not fully expressed. This kind of understanding does not demand performance. It allows emotional presence without pressure, which is why it feels so rare and valuable. From a psychological perspective, being understood without explanation reduces emotional labor. Constantly explaining oneself is exhausting. It forces the conscious mind to translate feelings that may not yet have clear shape. Many men avoid this not because they lack emotion, but because they lack language for it. When someone understands the feeling behind the behavior, the burden lifts. He no longer has to defend his inner state. This creates a sense of emotional partnership rather than emotional interrogation. The bond strengthens because energy is no longer spent on self-protection. This type of understanding also builds trust over time. When reactions are not misread or exaggerated, the man learns that his inner states are safe in that space. He does not fear that a bad day will be taken personally or that a quiet mood will be turned into conflict. This predictability allows him to stay open longer. He does not rush to explain or fix emotions. Instead, he allows them to move naturally. The unconscious learns that connection does not require constant management, and that learning deepens attachment. Being understood without explanation also honors emotional autonomy. It respects the idea that not everything needs immediate sharing. Many men need time to make sense of their feelings before speaking. When that time is allowed, trust grows. He knows he can return when ready without consequences. This freedom changes behavior subtly. He may actually share more over time, not because he is pushed, but because the space feels safe. Understanding becomes an invitation rather than a demand. At its core, this kind of understanding tells a man that his inner world is not a problem to solve. It is something to be respected. That message reaches far deeper than words. It calms the psyche, reduces defensiveness, and creates a quiet bond rooted in acceptance rather than explanation. When a man feels this level of understanding, He does not need to constantly express or define his feelings. The connection feels self-evident, steady, and emotionally grounding. Shared silence and simple presence hold a meaning that is often underestimated. In a world that values constant expression and explanation, silence can feel empty, but psychologically, it is anything but. For many men, silence is where comfort lives. It is a space where there is no need to perform, impress, or explain. When silence is shared without tension, it signals acceptance. The nervous system reads it as safety. Being able to exist alongside someone without filling every moment with words creates a sense of belonging that goes deeper than conversation. Presence is not about attention in a dramatic sense. It is about being mentally and emotionally available without intrusion. When a man feels that someone is present with him, not demanding or distracted, something inside him settles. This kind of presence communicates interest without pressure. It allows him to remain connected while staying in his own internal rhythm. Many men feel closest not during intense conversations, but during quiet moments where nothing is required. The absence of expectation makes connection feel natural rather than effortful. From a psychological perspective, shared silence allows the unconscious to relax. Words engage the thinking mind, but silence allows emotional processing to happen underneath. When silence is comfortable, it means there is no fear of judgment or misinterpretation. A man does not worry that quietness will be taken as distance or disinterest. This freedom reduces internal tension. The bond becomes embodied rather than verbal. Connection is felt through proximity, tone, and calm, rather than through explanation. Shared presence also reinforces trust. When nothing needs to be said to maintain closeness, the relationship feels stable. There is no urgency to prove attachment through conversation. This steadiness tells the psyche that connection is secure. Many men appreciate this deeply because it mirrors how they often experience intimacy internally. Feeling close does not always involve talking. It involves knowing that someone is there, consistently and quietly. That consistency creates emotional grounding. Another layer of shared silence is mutual regulation. When two people sit together calmly, their nervous systems often sync. This is subtle but powerful. For a man who carries stress, shared quiet moments can bring relief without requiring emotional disclosure. He does not have to unpack his day or explain his mood. The calm presence itself helps him reset. This kind of connection feels restorative. It does not drain energy, it replenishes it. Over time, the psyche associates that presence with peace. Shared silence also respects individuality. It allows both people to exist as separate inner worlds without conflict. There is no pressure to merge or entertain. This balance between togetherness and autonomy is especially important for men who value independence. Being able to be close without losing oneself creates trust. It shows that connection does not require self-erasure. That understanding strengthens attachment because it removes the fear of being consumed by closeness. Over time, shared silence becomes a language of its own. Small gestures, relaxed posture, and comfortable proximity replace words. This language is subtle but deeply felt. It communicates ease, familiarity, and emotional safety. For many men, this form of connection feels more real than spoken affection. It reflects a bond that has moved beyond performance into something stable and lived. Shared silence does not lack meaning. It carries meaning precisely because nothing needs to be added for the connection to feel whole. When all of this is taken together, it becomes clear that love for many men is not something that lives primarily in words. It lives in consistency, in respect, in emotional safety, in trust, in being understood without constant explanation, and in the quiet comfort of shared presence. These elements speak directly to the deeper layers of the psyche, where security and meaning are formed. When those layers feel calm and supported, love does not need to be announced repeatedly. It is already known through behavior, stability, and the way two people exist together without tension. What often gets misunderstood is not the absence of feeling, but the difference in how feeling is expressed. When actions are read with the same attention as words, a fuller picture of love appears. Effort, loyalty, patience, and presence become emotional statements in their own right. They show care in a way that feels grounded and real. When these expressions are recognized and valued, connection deepens naturally, without pressure or performance. In the end, the strongest bonds are built not on constant affirmation, but on a sense of inner peace shared between two people. Love becomes something that is lived daily rather than spoken repeatedly. And when love reaches that stage, it does not fade into silence. It settles into something steady, reliable, and quietly enduring.